Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Kitz Corner. It's been a fantastic day, and we're going to start the day with some breaking news. And breaking news because I didn't know about this till late last night that the former YouTube CEO and Silicon Valley trailblazer, that's apparently upselling it, Susan Wojcicki has died at the age of 56. Susan Wojcicki, former CEO of YouTube and majorette of censorship, as you're about to see here, has died at the age of 56. This is coming out of CNBC reporting this. She has, um, it says, former YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki has died of cancer at the age of 56. Her family and former colleagues said in a social media post on Friday night. Wojcicki was a key player in Google's early years, has become one of the few female executives to lead a Silicon Valley tech company. Former YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki, who was also one of the most influential early Google employees, has died at the age of 56, according to posts shared online by her husband, Dennis Troper, and Google CEO Sundar Pichai on Friday night. Wojcicki led YouTube for nearly 10 years and was one of the only women to hold the CEO role at the big tech company in Silicon Valley. Wojcicki's husband, Dennis Troper, wrote on Facebook early Friday night, "It is with profound sadness that I share the news of Susan Wojcicki's passing. My beloved wife of 26 years and mother to our 5 children left us today after 2 years of living with non-small cell lung cancer." Pichai confirmed the death and cancer condition in a post on social media Friday, writing that he was unbelievably saddened by the loss. So I let me just be frank and honest about this because personally, I know the troubles and the situations in dealing with cancer diagnosis. As in my, personally, I have had family members and friends who have unfortunately passed away from diagnosis of cancer, and I know the struggles. I know like how deepening sad it is, and cancer is one of those things that you think you're going to try and prevent as much as possible. You try everything. You don't really know where it comes from. And it's one of those things that's just ever pressing. It's hard to deal with. And for that note, I do feel saddened by this. I feel sad that anyone um dying from this horrific disease. I feel awful for whoever that person is. However, considering the fact of this particular person and this particular lady and the role that she played, I can't just say I feel sad and move on from this without actually reminding people who exactly Susan Wojcicki really is. Because as I told you at the beginning of this, she was pretty much the majorette of major censorship on tech companies, as you're about to see here. So this guy, by the name of Dr. Hold on, by the name of Dr. Ben Braddock, reminds us that the former YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki has passed away from aggressive cancer at the age of 56. Under her leadership, YouTube aggressively censored information related to COVID and vaccine side effects, including the turbo cancer phenomenon. And that is in relation to now there's medical reports being released on there's an uptake of people and even younger people, younger demographic, which is alarming, of cancer patients. And this is something that is alarming. This is something that needs to be examined. None of it's being addressed. None of it's being addressed. That all of a sudden now we're getting this spike of people with onset diagnosis of cancer after many years of not this huge uptake, but all of a sudden it's happening, especially in a younger demographic. But I can tell you it's very safe and effective. This is just what this guy is saying. I can tell you for certain that YouTube is on the right side of history when it comes to telling you that it's very safe and effective and may not stop transmission, but maybe just kind of slows it in a bit way or whatever it is. But here's just some examples of it. So this article from the New York Times pointed out that YouTube, back in the COVID days, bans all anti-vaccine misinformation. The new set of policies will cover not just the COVID-19 vaccines or long-approved vaccines against diseases like measles and hepatitis B, but also general claims about vaccines, YouTube says. Now, I don't know why YouTube, a video sharing platform that's supposed to be open to anybody to publish, that's kind of the whole purpose of YouTube existing, is to broadcast yourself, has the responsibility of basically what medical practitioners are supposed to be doing. Like, if you are concerned, and this is what I said during, back in the lockdown days of COVID, that if you are hesitant, if you are confused, talk to a medical professional. Go talk to your family physician. Go talk to someone who actually understands this. Don't get your information from MSNBC or CNN or YouTube or Google. Because what doctors are representing this? What doctors are approving the stances that's saying YouTube needs to take responsibility for these actions? What stance does YouTube have when it comes to deciding the fate of your health? They shouldn't. They shouldn't have the responsibility. But according to Susan Wojcicki, in this interview that I'm about to show you here, she thinks otherwise. So listen to this.
Hesitancy, videos that cause a public health risk. Where do you want to see YouTube do better?
Well, first of all, we've taken responsibility very seriously. It's been one of my top priorities. And with regard to COVID and with regard to vaccines, that has been a top priority for us. And we have a number of different ways that we address that. So first of all, we want to make sure that if there's information that violates our policies, we came up with 10 different policies around COVID. Then if that's a violation of policy.
Her claim to fame is she made 10 different new policies to censor people on YouTube, which I'm very surprised that it's at 10. Because literally, it all sums down to one simple notion. Do not ever critique Big Pharma. That's what it all sums down to. All these different policies, they all mean the same thing. Obey and conform to big pharmaceutical companies. That's all it is. That's all it is. They could just sum it down to one simple statement. They need 10 different policies to silence people on a video sharing platform. Again, and with what responsibility? YouTube isn't full of doctors. There's no medical practitioners working at YouTube. What responsibility do they have? None.
Then that's something that we'll remove. We removed over 1 million videos associated with COVID. But we also want to make sure that we're raising up information that we think that come from trusted and authoritative sources.
So this is the YouTube CEO proudly announcing that she has deleted over 1 million videos, while raising authoritative voices. This is the opposite of what YouTube's supposed to be. This is the opposite of YouTube's business model. That you're silencing small independent channels like you did with me. My original Kitz Corner got eliminated from YouTube. I had to start over again from square one. You eliminate small channels to raise up authoritative voices like CNN, MSNBC, CBS, Fox News, New York Times, Washington Post. And just with COVID, that's not even getting into the fact that YouTube assumes that's a responsibility now for foreign policy. That's why I deleted all these content creators that was discussing about the Ukrainian war, because you have to go along with the military-industrial complex. You have to go along with big pharmaceuticals. You have to go along with the State Department. You have to go along and comply with the oligarchy. And anyone that critiques it is automatically taken off YouTube, which is kind of defeating the entire purpose of this website. But that's her claim to fame. I deleted a million videos. A million videos. And raising authoritative voices. Why are you even working at YouTube then? What are you doing? What you're just ruining the entire purpose of having this platform. Because if all you want to do is raise authoritative voices and silence and squash on small content creators that just want to broadcast themselves to a global scale, then go work for cable news. Go work for CNBC. Go work for ABC. Go work for the legacy media that's dropping. And that's why they're buying up YouTube and blackmailing them, saying, hey, you gotta up the ante. You gotta make sure people go to us because legacy media is falling apart because people like me and people like you are sick and tired of this. They know better.
And we've really been able to do that.
Is there any lessons, though, that you learned or lessons that you're still learning from the COVID era? Because I think a lot of people, they say YouTube's not doing enough, you know? How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, we're always learning. Just to be fair, like we're always thinking about how can we do better. We're looking at the feedback and working with public health experts across the board. And I think one of the big things for us is to continue to work with public health experts to understand, what are the ways that we can partner with.
This is where it's just amazing that tech companies like YouTube or Facebook or whoever will keep stating the fact that, they're in partnership with health experts. They're in partnership with health experts. Notice how they don't mention who's the expert in this. They don't mention an organization. They don't mention a certain hospital. They don't mention any sort of partnership or any doctor that they're associating with to get this information. They're just saying, hey, we're just, talking to local health experts. Okay, who are they? Well, they're local health experts. No, who are they? Like, we want to know. And we know people like me who have actually investigated on this know that that's complete crap. And what they're really telling you is that they are in lockstep with the World Health Organization. People like Bill Gates, people like the WEF, and globalist members that pay into big pharmaceutical advertisements to broadcast this across media and propagandize and fearmonger and bait you and blackmail people into cooperation, into compliance, has nothing to do with local experts. In fact, during COVID, they fired a lot of these local experts. A lot of the nurses and practitioners that were actually helping people during COVID were fired. So that's how I know this is complete crap. And even says right at the top here, World Health Organization via YouTube. That's not a local health organization. That's a global cabal of criminals.
To get their messages across. And I really believe that is something that's really changed is the evolution of bringing creators, musicians, experts talking about public health. We never would have seen that before the pandemic. But being able to get creators and influencers to really be able to work with public health to spread those messages has been very essential.
Have you talked to the Biden administration at all about?
Yes, we got to make sure that musicians, content creators, gamers, people doing wacky stunts, make sure they are the front lines of spreading information. I want to feel bad that she died from cancer. And again, on a personal level, I do feel bad because I know what that's like. At the same time, though, I just can't believe this went by. People were just okay with it. I can't believe that this was going on at YouTube and not really a single person really spoke out against this, how crazy it is. Like very, very few people actually saw how ridiculous this is coming from this lady. That she thinks she has the higher morale, the responsibility. She's like the Superman of making sure that information from the WHO and all these horrific organizations on a global scale gets completely infested into YouTube. And that's why we got to silence out content creators that disrupt that message. Again, all this is about compliance.
Vaccine hesitancy or vaccine misinformation?
Well, we did an event actually with the Biden administration, including President Biden himself, with a number of creators, Fauci as well.
Oh
and
God,
we
Tony
really saw that as
Science.
an opportunity to be able to help and spread that the information that was coming from the administration and coming from experts to using creators and those channels to be able to distribute authoritative, trusted information.
I wonder if there's anything that you see.
So you're going to silence out doctors who have researched and done studies and well-renowned cardiologists like Dr. Peter McCullough or Dr. Robert Malone, who invented the technology for the vaccine. Silence those people out to get people like Cardi B, because that's an expert in health. Like, it's just so baffling that people could sit here and just be okay with this. It was acceptable, and people still go along with it because Cardi B is sending the right message, not the wrong message, but the right message. And don't hesitate. Just get jabbed and don't worry about it. Don't ask complicated medical questions. Don't be curious. Don't be an informed patient. Just go with the flow because everyone else is doing it. Trust Dr. Tony Science. When has he ever done wrong? Just go look up, 1990s and the AIDS crisis that he was trying to prevail. Give me a break.
In the way that anti-vaxxers behave on the platform, if there are any data or insights there that could be helpful to people understanding where they're coming from.
I mean, we try to understand what are the different ways that we can break through. So we talked about in this campaign that we did about getting back to the things that you love. We talked about we had people that represented all different backgrounds. We had people, like one of them was actually featuring her mom, talking about like how she was thinking about it. So what we really tried to do was get not just from the experts, but also people that were not experts, but who were explaining like, why did they take the vaccine? Why was that relevant for them? And what was their thought process? So, and that's a place where I believe YouTube can really shine, is having experts as well as just regular creators and people give their opinions.
I'm curious on her thought process, and I'm not curious enough to want to even know what her thought process is. She is not a doctor. She has no background in medicine. She doesn't list any qualified experts. She just keeps saying experts, like it's a buzzword. Experts are saying. Well, who are the experts? Who are the doctors? Give me some names. Give me some qualifications. Where exactly is this research coming from? They're the experts. And that, my friends, is the former CEO of YouTube who has passed away, sadly by aggressive cancer. I do have to state that. But let's not forget that she was the cheerleader, the majorette, the top star of censorship for YouTube. Her biggest claim to fame in this interview, which she was, cheery about, is the fact that she eliminated millions of YouTube videos by small independent creators to push narratives and lies by legacy media. which goes against the entire purpose and principle of YouTube. And if that is the case, if that is your thought process, if that's what you want to do, then I don't know why you're even working at YouTube. I don't know why you just don't go work at CNN then. Go work at their place. If you think that, small independent creators that have interviewed doctors, have done the research, have actually examined and just providing perspective on this is such a threat to your precious authoritative narrative of legacy media, then go work for legacy media. This is just insane, utterly insane. And she is considered the top bright star of Google employees, and which makes sense because she's pushing the ultimate state-approved oligarchical narrative of compliance with big pharmaceuticals and silencing people that get in the way of that. She's the ultimate oppressor, which works well for an agency like Google. And she's just giddy as a schoolgirl on being the exact opposite of what the foundation of YouTube really is, which is that anyone was allowed to go. That was the whole purpose, the whole idea. That was what was so magical and inspiring about YouTube was that anyone could go on and make a video and share their thoughts, share their ideas. It didn't matter who you were. You didn't need a broadcasting license. You didn't need a $50,000 studio and orders by corporate oligarchs to allow to express your ideas. That's kind of the point of social media. And if you're trying to eliminate that, then you shouldn't be working in social media, period. You shouldn't be doing it. But they hire these people anyway. They hire these people because they're kissing up to the oligarchs, to their lobby groups, to their donors, than actually fundamentally staying true to the principle and business practice of the company that they're representing. And that is sickening. That is sickening. Also, the fact that they're trying to spread correct information. The fact that they use spread so many times to mention about, correct information, but it's baffling, utterly baffling.